Hi, I'm Ilan Goldstein, and you're watching the Scrum Shortcut series. In this video, we will be focusing on the mechanics of planning poker. To put relative estimation into practice, many teams play a nifty game called planning poker. This technique was invented by James Grenning and popularized by Mike Cohen, although it is actually based on a method developed in the 1970s known as wideband Delphi. This approach utilizes broad insight from a group of cross-functional experts to arrive at an estimate that is typically more accurate than one derived from a single person. Think of it as crowdsourcing an estimate. The technique is called planning poker because teams literally play with cards. But instead of spades, hearts, clubs, and diamonds, they use cards representing story point values. A common point system that is utilized for these values is Mike Cohen's modified Fibonacci sequence, including the values of half, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 20, 40, 100, and infinity. Now, in case you are wondering, I believe a fair translation of the infinity card would be something along the lines of, "Whoa, that is way too big to estimate. It definitely needs some serious splitting before any meaningful estimation can occur." I'm a fan of using the modified Fibonacci sequence because it reflects the greater amount of uncertainty that exists as requirements get larger, while also avoiding the perception of precision. Before we proceed with some planning poker hints and tips to ensure that your sessions don't become late-night marathons, let's run through a brief overview of the mechanics of the game. The session proceeds as follows. Firstly, the product owner describes the top product backlog item before the development team is invited to ask questions to clarify the scope and desired benefits. Any changes to the PBI description or acceptance criteria are captured progressively. Once ready to estimate, each team member places face down on the table the card that he or she feels best represents the effort required to complete the PBI. Once they have chosen their cards, all team members simultaneously flip their cards face up. When there is a lack of agreement, the Scrum Master facilitates a short debate between the holder of the high card and the holder of the low card under close observation from the rest of the team. With the new evidence uncovered during the debate, the team returns to step 2, where each team member reselects another card, assuming, of course, that the debate prompted a change of mind. Steps 2 through 5 are repeated until a general consensus is reached for the PBI. Once the PBI has been assigned a value, the process starts again from step 1 for the next PBI in the product backlog. Note that the Scrum Master acts as the facilitator throughout and is not involved in the actual estimation unless, of course, he or she is also wearing a secondary hat of a developer as well. A key requirement is that everyone must estimate the effort for the entire PBI as opposed to just estimating the bit that pertains to his or her specialty. For example, a programmer needs to estimate the effort of not just the coding work, but also the testing and deployment work. An interesting concept, right? So how does everyone participate in estimates of work that is not in their primary area of expertise? Well, they need to base the combined estimate on experience. Even though they might not have done much of the testing, let's say, they will remember what was involved when a similar PBI was implemented in the past. They will recall, for example, that even though the programming wasn't too tricky, the testing was a nightmare because of the various integration points with the third-party payment system they were using. It is common for individuals to assume that they are estimating only for their specific function, and it is a primary reason that new teams typically start with very disparate estimates at the beginning, so be aware of this pitfall. And that's it for the mechanics of planning poker. I'll see you in the next video for another Scrum Shortcut.